Welcome to IJustWatched. I'm Joseph. We're here to discuss Monarch, Legacy of Monsters. I was super excited for this, I gotta be honest. Spoiler warning just in case you haven't seen it. And I'm starting to feel bad for Wyatt Russell because he didn't give a damn about Night Swim. I gotta be honest, this show is extremely mediocre. There's moments that are amazing. Some of the visual effects are fantastic, better than recent movies. So I gotta give credit when credit's due. However, I feel like this had such great potential. It's one of those projects where like the idea of this is very much in the background. It being called Monarch, Legacy of Monster kind of feels unnecessary. This should have been called Hidden Family Love Story, by the way, Godzilla. And it would have been more accurate, where the first 5 episodes, sweet Jesus, is it hard to get through. I enjoyed the first two. I was like, okay, you know what? Maybe they're building up. And then they just focus so much on this building of these brother and sister who didn't know each other, they didn't know they existed, but then even more so on these love stories and these connections and this love triangle and how things were affecting them and how they felt about their feelings. And I'm like, that's cool now, but I'm not here for this TV drama about family. I'm here to learn about Monarch, understand this world where these kaijus or titans exist. That's what I want to learn about. I want to see how Monarch came to fruition, which they do very little of in the beginning, and then you really in 8, 9, and 10, can't remember how many there's, I think there's 10 episodes. In the last 3 episodes, they start to really establish this is what happened. This is how Monarch really came to be where it's at now. Because present day Monarch doesn't feel like a company or an organization that tracks or deals with titans. It feels like your everyday other bland government issued force, you know, FBI, CIA. Anytime you see them in a movie or a show, that's what they feel like. They're just bland. You could have just slapped a sticker of any of those other ones and it would have fit. They didn't really have that sense of knowledge, or because they've been around forever. Clearly, it's established here. So that part really bummed me out. And they relied on Godzilla so much. I love Godzilla. It's hard not to love Godzilla. And I understand he is the face of the kaijus. He is the king of monsters. You know, I understand why he was in it. But they acted like they couldn't use any other of the titans, especially because in King of Monsters, which takes place after. So this show takes place in the, shit, I forgot the beginning. Was it 20s, 30s? I think it was 20s, 30s, 40s. It was around that time. No, it was like 50s. Anyways, it takes place in the past, and then you jump a little bit to like the 80s, but then present day for this is 2015. So a year after what they call G-Day, which is Godzilla in San Francisco, the first movie. And it ends in 2017, a year before Godzilla King of Monsters, on Skull Island to be specific. And Maya, was it Maya? May? What was her name? I think it was May. Her character was damn annoying, and the only reason we had her was for this unnecessary attachment issue. Her story is so unnecessary. They literally built this character so they can reveal Apex. It felt so unnecessary. There was better ways to do it, cleaner, more entertaining ways to do it than doing this entire 7-episode ordeal with her and her character arc just to be like, yeah, she was basically working for Apex and she didn't know it, and then Apex became Apex afterwards because now blah 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 blah, Apex is here. And I'm like, all right, cool. Like, you could have just started with that. You could have just had Monarch be working with Apex from the jump and have it be its own company. And that's it. Like, you didn't have to do this whole other side story, this filler ass story unnecessarily. Same thing with the kids. Their story made no sense because they don't even touch it. Even when the father gets involved, they never answer the question why he had 2 separate families. Apparently, he was just a dick. In King of Monsters, we find out that there's a bunch of other titans that are pre-existing in this world. So why wouldn't we learn more about that here as Monarch is studying them, as establishing why they have names and they know about them so much in King of Monsters? Last 3 were decent, but still weren't enough to save the show. I don't care if we get a second season, if I'm being honest. The idea behind it, which is establishing Monarch and giving us this back and forth from the young version when they're establishing it to it now, didn't mesh well for me because it felt bland. And then on top of that, they started to create what I feel like is plot holes in their own pre-existing universe with how time all of a sudden works differently in Hollow Earth. And here, it didn't feel like Hollow Earth. It felt like an alternate dimension, and the only way to get there is through going through a portal in Earth to end up on an alternate Earth, basically, is what it felt like here versus Hollow Earth. And if I remember correctly, I haven't seen it a bit, but I'm going to rewatch it for the sequel, is Godzilla versus Kong. When I remember they were talking about Hollow Earth, they created the special little spaceship thingies to make it through and not die. And here, they fall through these holes with nothing more than the clothes they have on, and nothing happens to them. They're walking around like nothing happened. If you get stuck down there, apparently time works vastly different. Like, I forgot her name, but the main, William's wife, one of the two main founders of Monarch, because I don't really count Kurt Russell's character because he was just security. He helped. So he's like a co-founder or a sub-founder, but he's not one of the two main founders. She falls through, which also didn't make sense because when she got killed, she was covered by a horde of insect type titans that were just born, a bunch of babies, but covered in them. So they, I guess, pulled her through the tunnel that led to this Hollow Earth alternate version dimension of Earth. And in my head, I'm like, she still should have died. She was covered by a horde of newborn insect like kaiju that apparently grow to these giant ass beetles. But they didn't eat her. They didn't damage. She was able to fight her way through that horde, or maybe when they got launched through, they got separated. Whatever. Basically, when they see her again, it's been 50 something years and she's the exact same age. Kurt Russell is his age, but he's younger, or he's lived this long because he was stuck in there for like a week, but it was 20 years. They started adding these things that just didn't fit and mesh with the pre-existing universe. So it felt like plot holes that weren't explained. They just created a bunch of little plot holes and questions and then left them there, which doesn't make sense, especially when you have pre-existing lore from other movies. So it just kind of jumbled up a universe that was pretty smooth. And it's not like, oh, it's disbelievable, the time works different, that's fine, but it just didn't fit well with what's pre-existing. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Are you excited? I don't even know if they announced a season 2 or not. I would have loved to see other kaijus other than just Godzilla. But is it rewatchable? Not for me. I'm done with it. Like I said, I don't care if we get a season 2. It's one of those, if we do get a season 2, I'm going to watch it simply so we can discuss it. Not because I'm as eager to watch it or excited for it like I was originally for this one. But I do want to hear your thoughts, comments, questions, concerns. Did you like it? Did you love it? Let me know if you agree, disagree. What are your theories on it? I love hearing from y'all. But until next time, stay safe, be well, y con mucho amor. Adios.